study only the day before the exam. Now I am sure a lot of you guys were just the same way. Though I still used to top the class, it used to be very stressful. I had to stay up late in the night on the day of the exam and again wake up early in the morning just to somehow cover the syllabus. Then once in my class 8, I decided I'll study for the exams well in advance. Now this time I ended up doing well without much stress. It was a very useful life lesson for me. I wouldn't say I kept up the practice of beginning well throughout my life, but it would definitely make life much less stressful. Now that the beginning is done, let me remind you all about the 3 rules of Toastmasters. Please do not walk around or move around when someone is speaking. You can do so when the speaker is done and you hear an applause. The rule number 2, please do not say anything which might hurt or offend others. It might be political, religious, or gender related. Rule number 3, please put your phone on silent. I'll give you all 10 seconds for that. Now the next speaker to come on stage, I really look up to her. She's very meticulous at organizing things. And she's someone who really believes in beginning well. Please put your hands together for the President, Toastmaster Hannah.
A very good evening, my dear fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. Good evening. I now declare meeting number 1331 open. The Toastmasters platform is a platform where you learn and practice public speaking skills. The Bangalore Toastmasters Club is a 25-year-old club. We are the second largest and the second oldest across 800 clubs in India. Here, the Bangalore Toastmasters Club is a community club. Here we get to learn from the experiences of a student to senior citizens. I would encourage the visitors, the guests, to please meet with the Vice President membership during the break or later, okay, for more details about Toastmasters. May I now request our Secretary, Toastmaster Bruno, to please read out the minutes of the meeting 1330.
Good evening, Toastmasters. Good evening. So minutes of meeting of 1330 held on 24th June was chaired by our outgoing Secretary, Professor Sumitra. Did you get a chance to read that? Good. So here is a brief summary of the last meeting. Believe in yourself. Life is a journey to be experienced, not a problem to be solved. That was the title of Toastmaster TM Sai in his maiden speech, icebreaker, that was evaluated by distinguished Toastmaster Lalit. The second speaker was distinguished Toastmaster Sumitra, and her title of the speech was Grow in Spite of Hurdles, and it was evaluated by distinguished Toastmaster Radhik. Distinguished Toastmaster Kathivaran M presented an educational session on the power of the pause. The awards of the meeting were the best team player, Toastmaster Chetan, the role taker, Toastmaster Vaidyanathan, tabletop speaker, Toastmaster Sureka, the best evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster Radhik, and the best speaker, distinguished Toastmaster Sumitra. The theme of that meeting was grow through what you go through. Word of the day, candor. The total number of people attending the meeting was 50, 31 members and 20 per guest. Over to you.
Any amendments to the minutes just being presented?
No.
I declare minutes of the meeting 1330 as passed. The theme of today's meeting is well begun is half done. This is from the Greek philosopher Aristotle. When you begin something well, it's easier to get the rest done. And I understand the context in which our Vice President Education, Toastmaster Vaidya, has brought about this theme right in the beginning. Going by the lineup of speakers, evaluators, and role takers, and with the double dose of vaccination, one is commitment, second is creativity, and the booster dose of commitment, we definitely will have a great team, a great term in the coming months. I remember I have spoken to my husband 2 to 3 times before he said yes to me. I very carefully used the words he said yes to me because my brother was very keen on his yes rather than mine. He wanted to send me off packing. So my husband said yes, and then we got engaged, and he wanted to take me out. And he took me to Taj Trinity for a cup of coffee, and I was absolutely thrilled. I had dined there earlier, but not out of my pocket expense. It was always at a company's expense. And because that marriage began so well, 19 years down the line, I'm still eagerly waiting for my second cup of paid coffee. Moving forward, my friends, it is a privilege to introduce to you the Toastmaster of today. This Toastmaster has been in our club for over 9 years. He is the lead salesperson for enterprise and partnerships in Healthify Me. One thing which strikes to me about him is his sense of humor. Absolute great sense of humor. Very lively, the meeting would just flow through. Please join me to welcome Toastmaster Karunakar Dev.
Never knew so many things about me. Thank you, Nana. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
First day of the second half of the year. First day of the new committee, and it began so well. So everyone, half job is already done. I have a very interesting story around well begins is half done. It happened in the time of Vijayanagara Empire. A very renowned scholar hailing from Bengal reached Vijayanagar, and he challenged the people to debate with him on any topic, any book, any scripture. Well, it was a tough job. And this scholar was a renowned scholar. He commanded admiration and respect from every section of the society. The people were scared, and the Pandits or the scholar of Vijayanagar thought that if we do not challenge him, Krishna Devaraya would get angry, would be upset. And for every problem, you had one solution, that is Tenali Raman. The scholars went to him. They told him about the plan, they told him about the problem, and Tenali Raman said that, okay, fine, but you have to make me the chief priest or the chief pandit on that specific day. the people in need. Fine. Okay, now it is the time when the scholar and Tenali Raman are facing each other. And the scholars are scared that there isn't a specific book or scripture where they could defeat the scholar from Bengal. As per the instructions by Tenali Raman, he was got into the courtroom or the palace in a palanquin, and he sat right opposite to the renowned scholar from Bengal. After his entry, two pundits who reported to Tenali Raman walked in slowly with a huge bundle into their hand, which had the covering in a cloth, and that cloth was maroon silk. They bowed to Tenali Raman and to the bundle, which was placed right around Tenali Raman. And Tenali Raman went in, placed his hand on to the bundle and mentioned, "We will have a debate on this scripture, that is Tilakasta Mahishabandhanam. Tilakasta Mahishabandhanam. We will have a debate on this, and we will have the debate tomorrow." Everybody was scared. What's going to happen? No one knows about the scripture. Even the Pandit did not know this. But the following day, the great scholar from Bengal did not arrive. He got scared because he felt that, hey, I've read all the books in the country. I command respect everywhere, but this is something which I haven't even studied. And if I haven't even studied, how on earth can I have a debate on this? So he walked away. He did not appear. Okay, to the surprise of all the people in the court, when Krishna Deva Raya was asking him, what happened? Which is the book which you have read and nobody else have done it? To which he said, unwrap the bundle which you have. When he unwrapped the bundle, it had two wigs tied into a rope. And Krishna Deva Raya was frowning. What is this? It's a cheating. Then he said, Tila Krista. Tila. Til is sesame. Kasta is the twigs of til. Mahisha is buffalo. And the rope which is used to tie the buffalo is bandhana. So technically, it is twigs which is wrapped up by the rope which you normally use to tie a buffalo. So he had a preparation in mind. He prepared, he began really well, and the opponent ran away. So it's always important to actually begin with a purpose and begin in such a fashion that half of your job is done. The same way, in 1924, Santa Ana, California, Ralph Medley began with Toastmaster, and he did not imagine at that point in time that it can actually be a worldwide revolution. Today we have over 500,000 members in over 20,000 clubs around the world. Once you begin your journey of Toastmasters, you grind hard to be an able leader and able communicator. And once you reach the pinnacle of Toastmasters, you attain the level called Distinguished Toastmaster. And it's my honor today to call out that we have 3 Distinguished Toastmasters in our club today. May I just request them to stand for a brief moment, please. Toastmaster Ravi, Sumitra, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it takes great determination and continuous effort to be reaching that level. And today, and for the benefit of the guests and new members, a typical Toastmasters meeting has 3 distinct parts. The first one is prepared speech, wherein every speaker will prepare as per the specific guidelines on pathways. And the typical time duration could be 5 to 7 minutes. The second category is table topic, wherein anyone from the audience could be called up on the stage and given any random topic to speak on, and the duration is 1 to 2 minutes. And then every single role play would be evaluated. We have the evaluation session. And today, as the general evaluator, we have someone who is a distinguished Toastmaster, who is an exemplary leader, leader who has been awarded by the president of the country as well. He is a coordinator at Jain University and he mastered in statistics and finance, if I'm not wrong. And one fun fact about him, which hardly some people know, he's a hardcore foodie. Give him any vegetarian food without onion and garlic and you see the way he hops onto it. Put your hands up for Toastmaster Manamohan.
Thank you so much, Karunakar, for that very inaccurate description. He had started off with Mahisha Bandhanam, that is tying a buffalo. You make me feel like a buffalo, but it's okay. My role will be Vaktya Adhyayanam. That means evaluating each speaker. Okay, so we will evaluate each speaker throughout this meeting to come out with the best. And for my assistants, I have 4 role takers. We have a wonderful law student, Jayashree Reddy, who will be the timekeeper. Can you explain your role, please?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As a timer, it is my duty to time and record the duration of the entire meeting and to note down the time taken by the speakers. And we'll be showing the placards. That is.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jayashree. We will see your report at the end. As the our counter, we have an IT professional, Vishwanathan. Can you read out your role, please?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. As a half counter, probably I did this just now a while back. I would be listening very carefully and look for some of the vocal phrases and repetitive words and crutch words, specifically and the repetitive words also. And at the end, I'll be reporting who actually, in terms of the control their use of fillers properly. So that would be my role. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vishwanathan. As the grammarian, we have a wonderful person who is working in Nokia Siemens and who won an award last Sunday for the thank you award for the contribution she did to the club, Priyanka Ranure, grammarian.
A very good evening, one and all. As a grammarian, it's my responsibility to pay attention and make note of good and not so good usages of words and sentences. It's also my responsibility to introduce the word of the day, which is conspicuous, which means clearly visible or very noticeable. An example would be transformation that caused conspicuous effects were favored. As a grammarian, I will be conspicuously listening and taking note and sharing my report to the general
Priyanka, repeat that word 3 times.
Conspicuous.
Thank you to Priyanka. And as the listener, we have the Pitamaha of our club, the founder of our club, a law secretary, and only person who's worked in all 3 wings of the government, the legal, the executive, and the judiciary, Mr. DSouza.
Thank you, sir. Toastmasters educational program is based on 3 important aspects. What are those 3 important aspects? Can anyone tell me?
Better speaking, better listening.
Who is the first one, sir, who said better?
Me.
Who is the first one answer? Okay, I have brought chocolate for the right answer.
Yeah, one for me. I said better speaking.
Yeah.
Better listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Better listening.
I have brought chocolate for you. What is my role as a listener? Can anyone tell me?
To listen intently and question us on whether we listen properly or not.
His answer is wrong. But I'll give you a chocolate because I have offered chocolate. My role is not check, not be after you, but to help you. to whether you are listened or not. Over to you, Mr. Raj.
Thank you very much. With this, I hand it back to the Toastmaster of the day, and I'll be back at the end of the meeting to give my report. Thank you so much.
The first prepared speech of the new term. And this speech is going to be evaluated by Toastmaster, who's been here for 6 years of time, who runs the homestay in Chikmagalur, and recently Trip Advisor gave that specific homestay Traveler Choice Award. So now you know where to go if you head to Chikmagalur. Over to Alan Malana.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Well begun is half done. Today, I've decided to evaluate, getting inspired by that theme, I've decided to evaluate our speaker even before he utters a word. Now, why is that? Today, our speaker is going to attempt his icebreaker. I think he has already begun his journey well. It takes a lot for someone to come up here and start their journey when all we are thinking about is, can I do it? Will I do it? So please give him a huge round of applause. So having said that, the purpose of this project is for the speaker to learn and review basic methods for writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. Timer, please note the speech length is 5 to 7 minutes. Best 5 to
4 to 6 minutes. 5 to 7 minutes was
No, 5 to 7 minutes.
4 to 6 minutes.
No, it's dynamic leadership says 5 to 7 minutes. Anyway, yeah, okay, I've got that clarified. Dynamic leadership icebreaker 5 to 7 minutes. I'll stand by that. So timer, please note the time is 5 to 7 minutes. And yeah, best of luck to the speaker. Back to the booth. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Now, speakers like these, the newbies are my favorite lot of speakers. Why? I don't really have to prepare introductions for them. Okay, now this speaker has a speech title, and I requested me to speak on the speech title. And this speech title sounds like the Netflix series Dark. How many of you seen it? So many of them, lovely. The title of the speech is Everything Connects to Everything Else. Everything connects to everything else. Put your hands up for Toastmaster Yash.
So good evening, fellow Toastmasters, and warm welcome to our guests. I hope you are all settled in and comfortable. So, I'm not comfortable actually. I'm financially, so I'm going to try my best here. Anyways, moving on. So, how many of you believe in life everything connects to everything else? Can I have a show of hands? Yes. Oh wow, I wasn't expecting such a great number, but okay, that's a good to me. So earlier, when I was preparing my speech for today, I thought, why not try something different? Why not try to dig a little deeper and find out how this journey began, how I reached here today, how and why Toastmasters. Now, most of you sitting here would say that you were introduced to Toastmasters through your friends or colleagues, or you wanted to improve your public speaking skills and hence you came here. But my story on thinking is not as simple. You see, I was first introduced to Toastmasters about 4 years back when I was in my engineering college. And I had just come across this video on YouTube and I found it very fascinating, but I did not make any move on it. I completely forgot about it. It was not even at the back of my mind. Fast forward to a few months earlier, I suddenly remembered about Toastmasters. And I thought, you know what, let's give it a try. I'm anyways planning to start my own podcast, so this should help me upskill myself. Now I know I said it's not that simple, so now I'm quickly going to walk you through 3 phases of my life which should define why Toastmasters. I've named these 3 phases and I call them: the first phase is called the fight or flight phase, the second phase is the stabilizing phase, and the third phase is the growth phase. So my first phase, fight or flight phase. I'm sure a lot of you over here had very jolly school days, and my fight or flight phase starts during my schooling days. Unfortunately, I did not have the best of the times. In fact, for me, my schooling experience was very dull, and one of the core reasons for that was bullying. So as a child, I was bullied a lot, and it was not a 1 or 2 time event. It was a day in, day out event. In fact, I used to get into a lot of fights just to stand up for myself. It became very bad, and in fact, I'll tell you one instance where I was infuriated, bubbling with anger, crying. I came back home to my mother crying, saying that, mother, I want to stab my bullies. I want to stab my bullies. Now, obviously, I did not do that. But let's look at the characteristics over here. What did I go through, and what was I at that point? So, at that point of time, my main way of communicating or expressing myself was only through crime. I could naturally express myself only through crime, and I had formed this protective bubble around me as a defense mechanism, which did not let me skills, leadership skills, and quick thinking on my feet. Fellow Toastmasters, and yes, everything connects to everything else. Thank you.
Moving on, the second speaker today is also a newbie. He's attempting icebreaker, and this speech will be evaluated by a seasoned Toastmaster who's been in Toastmaster for over 2 decades of time. He is the past president Toastmaster Manamohan. Please read out the guidelines.
It's the same guideline. 4 to 6 months.
Same guideline.
Yeah.
Same.
Make my job easy. Okay, I'm not allowed to speak any word about the person because he's going to be introducing himself. The topic is my Miss Toastmaster Nagesh. Put your hands up for him, everyone.
I was having the rubber shoes in one hand and my school bag in the other. I was crossing my school playground with ankle deep of water. As I reached the gate, my class teacher held her hand and took me inside the school. That was the beginning of the monsoon season at Lucknow, where torrential rains for 2 months keeps us away from school most of the time. And another 2 months were scorching heat of summer when we get summer holidays. Summer holidays were the time when we took long train journeys to explore northern India. And many a times we came to Bangalore to be with my grandma. I miss the long train journeys of my school days. Of course, the rainy season as well. 1980 is when we came to Bangalore and I started my college graduate education. Most of the time, I used to be outside the class. Either the subject was boring or the teacher was. So what did we do? We sat on the compound wall, almost doing nothing but chit-chatting. If I look back my college days, 2 things I miss. Waiting for BTS bus and my friends. It was in mid-1980 that I started my work. My career started as a small site engineer because I am a civil engineer. I was working for 12 to 16 hours, spending my time either directing work or learning work. As the days were longer for me, the work days were longer for me, I used to spend a lot of time in the evenings on a cot made out of coir, eating tandoori roti, eating dal makhani and onion pakoras at a dhaba. I miss the trucks passing by on the highway with musical horns. I miss the clear night sky, and I miss those unnecessary chit-chats we had with our colleagues. Mid-90s was when I became a project manager. Nagesh project manager. Till about 2 months ago, I had that visiting card, which gave me a lot of hope and strength. We painted our house, and I lost that card somewhere. I have not lost hope. I'll still find that card and gain my strength. It's somewhere there. Mid-2000s, 2005 is when I started building large IT campuses, large hotels, and many industrial projects for large multinational companies. That's when I started working and meeting corporate honchos. I raised my hand those days at every opportunity I got. And instead of giving me anything else, all I was given was more work. With more work came more responsibilities, more learnings, more accolades for my team, and a chance to raise hand once again. So it was a full cycle. It was in 2008 I realized that a lot of people don't raise their hands for challenges. That's when I said, I need to go to engineering colleges and start motivating emerging engineers. I became a teacher, a trainer, and a coach. It was 2018, my 25th anniversary of marriage. My wife looked at me and said, "You still can't roll the dough to round chapatis." I had the rolling pin in my hand, but obviously did not happen. I looked at her and said, "I challenge you, can you make dosas thin, crisp, and as round as I do?" We had these small tsunamis in our life. Thankfully, our marriage is very well. My daughter sometimes used to wake me up, and she used to tell me, "Papa, you always have that smile when you're sleeping. The way a child smiles when it is sleeping in the cradle." Small, slight, and stupid moments of my life, what I feel I miss today, I think have given me great happiness that gives me smile even when I'm sleeping. Toastmasters and guests, what is it that you miss from your past? TM.
A beautiful speech. I have sympathy with Toastmaster Nagesh for missing on on so many things. I miss very table topics and Toastmasters. Seems like a long time ago. Okay, moving on. The third speaker today is attempting the second speech from evaluation and feedback from engaging human pathway. So I request his evaluator, a Toastmaster who's been a distinguished Toastmaster, who's been here for 6 years of time to read out the guidelines. Toastmaster Teresa, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Dear Toastmasters and guests, the purpose of this project is to practice applying feedback received in his first speech. Timer, please note the time allotted is 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank
Over.
you. Thank you. This speaker is like Pantene. 5 problem, 1 solution. 5 things about him. He is a startup jeweler. He is an experimenter by nature. He is a mechanical engineer. He is an avid biker and an innovator Toastmaster. Whatever tech innovation you see, right from having our first meeting, hybrid election, to having these voting being digitally, all goes to him. Put your hands up for Toastmaster. But before that, let me enter his guideline, or rather, his speech title. His speech title is WD-40. WD-40 Toastmaster, Abhay Kotari.
Thank you, Toastmaster Karunakar. And again, thanks for the inaccurate description. I'm an electronics engineer, not a Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. WD-40. On 8th of February 2001, I came down from my auto, school bag in one hand and tiffin box in another, rang the bell, and as was my custom, peeped through the keyhole of the door, trying to think what prank I can play on anyone who opens the door. But my eye on that day caught a sight of something that I had never seen in my house. It was something blue. And I had a very good idea what it may be, but I still could not believe my eyes. When my mom opened the door, it was indeed a sparkling blue Hercules Top Gear 5-speed bicycle. And I was on cloud nine. But there was a problem. I did not really know how to ride a bicycle. So I had to wait for my dad to really teach me. And the next best thing that one can do when you can't ride a new bicycle is to read the owner's manual, I suppose. So I picked up the owner's manual, and there, under the section of chain lubrication and maintenance, was mentioned this very curious word that you see on the slide called WD-40. So, what is WD-40? Somehow the slide changes this. Yeah, okay. So it was mentioned as a lubricant for my bicycle chain, and I've been using WD-40 since the year 2001. I believe it was imported from then, and it is still imported, but it is made by Pidilite Industries, the guys who make Fevicol these days. And you can find a can anywhere from rupees 75 to 400, and it's available in usually many or any small hardware store. So how do you identify the can? This is how the can looks like. But to put things a little bit in perspective, I'm going to invite our TOD for the day to read out the first advertisement of WD-40. So Karunakar, can you please read this out for us?
Do you have tight nuts or a rusty tool? Then use WD-40 in the man-size pressure pack. Stands 9-inch high. Damn. Incomplete with red knot. Makes old tools look like new again. Tools slide in and out with ease. Lubricates dry good stuff for Abhay Kotari.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are only responsible for what you heard. I mean, we are only responsible for what you heard and not what you understood. So, what is WD-40 in terms of Wikipedia? It's called water displacement formula number 40. It's a penetrating oil and it's a commercially available lubricant since 1961. It can act as a lubricant, penetrant, rust preventive mechanism and moisture displacer. And it's a jack of all trades basically. And why am I speaking about this is because I used WD-40 for a long time to repair a lot of stuff at my house. And so I'm just going to present to you some of the uses that I've gone through. So what's the standard procedure for using WD-40? So you first identify the problem, do a Google search to see if someone has used WD-40 for that purpose, then spray it on the problem area, for example, a tight screw or something like that. Let it soak for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then you can make your life a little bit easier. But first, test and then use. The risk is definitely all yours. Please don't come back to me and say that you told me to use WD-40 for this time. I'm not responsible. Okay, so again, first, have you ever faced a tight screw? Someone, trying to unscrew something and it's really tight. The screw is really tight. So you spray a little bit of WD-40, and the screw will really come out very easily. So that's one of the best. It even involves some bolts and nuts and whatever. So the next application is definitely lubrication. Pretty much anywhere. Please do not try on human beings. If you have colleagues who are rusted, please do not try it on them. Yeah. So please only try it on stuff that is metallic. And of course, like I discovered, the first application of WD-40 was on my bicycle chain. So this is what I presented. The next one is on squeaky hinges. Now, if you ever face squeaky hinges, you definitely know how annoying they are. And one spray of WD-40, trust me, your doors will be squeak free. So one more application that I tested out. And this one is a little bit messy. So once you have a sticker somewhere, when you try to pull it off, I'm sure you've always faced a residue in that sticker. And if you spray a little bit of WD-40, let it soak for a few minutes, and then you can get rid of that sticker residue very easily. And please make sure that if you're using it on any product that you're going to put something sensitive in, so please wash your hands and wash the product thoroughly after wiping off WD-40 with soap. And it also works on stains of rust and paint on surfaces. So to remove them as well, WD-40 works really fine. And do you remember what you used to do when your zippers were stuck, bag zippers were stuck, or trouser zippers were stuck back in the day? What would you do? Yes, wax. But now you can use WD-40. But be careful if you're using it on any jacket or any clothing. Keep a double folded cloth behind. So if you spray it, you should not go onto the part that's behind. So that's a pro tip. Learn from experience. So friends, these are the few applications of WD-40. And if you want to know more, you can go on to the web and learn more applications of WD-40. I hope that you are a little bit enlightened with this knowledge that I have shared. And I hope you try and share it with others and make life simple for someone else. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Abhay. Moving on, we have the fourth and the last speaker in this evening. And this is going to be the most accurate introduction by far. This speaker is attempting speech on reflection of your past project, and this is to be evaluated by a Toastmaster who is a sales professional working with HCL Technologies. Toastmaster Alok, please be your guidelines.
Thank you, Toastmaster Karunakar. The speaker is attempting the final speech of her part dynamic leadership, and the purpose of the speech is for the member to reflect on her growth during the completion of an entire path, and for the member to share some aspect of her growth during the completion of the path. Timer, please note the duration is 10 to 12 minutes. Back to you.
Okay. She is a 20-year-old Toastmaster, fumbling, tumbling, and grumbling through pathways. The speech title is A Thrilling Adventure. Could you hands up for Toastmaster, a distinguished Toastmaster, Sumitra Manamohan.
I hope you all were not shocked expecting a 20-year-old. Good evening, my fellow Toastmasters. Good evening. Robin Sharma says, change is hard at first. It gets messy in the middle and gorgeous in the end. And I think that, in a nutshell, explains my journey through this path. So I'm here today to reflect on my path and my journey as explained by the TMOD, my learnings and my hardships through the path, and most surprisingly, my transition from a technophobe to a technophile. It all started with curiosity as I took the first step, that of choosing a path. With great difficulty, I surfed the net, got the questionnaire, merrily clicked through it, thrilled that I completed it, but I was in for a shock. A shock that I was suggested dynamic leadership. Leadership, I said, I get it everywhere in Toastmasters. I want something else. And then as I thought over, what is it I want? I was not sure because there were 11 core competencies, something new, we were all confused. So I mean, my first lesson was clarity of your purpose and goal when you're choosing your path. And I must congratulate Yash, he is absolutely clear what he wants. Now, disappointed I got dynamic leadership, I shut my laptop and thought I'd come back to it. But thanks to my memory and perhaps the fear of technology, it slipped my mind. And then, it was new those days, everyone asking, have you got into it and all that. So I mentioned my misadventure, and this Toastmaster said, no issues, go back to it and change it. So I went back without realizing how much of time had lapsed. When I went, it was well past the time for a free exchange. So I had to stick on to it. So I decided to make the best of a bad choice. Lesson number 2. Have no inhibitions. When in doubt, check it out with someone who is more savvy about the change. Dynamic leadership thrust only. You know how I felt? A rustic damsel who was used to romping along in the fields freely, pushed into marriage to a tech-savvy corporate person. I thought, gone my freedom. But I had to take the journey. Very half-heartedly I took it. For my luck, level 1 was sort of easy because I had already gone through the path and because it was the basics. But this was the time I started getting evaluations. And I realized all the evaluation forms were same. Whatever project, whatever speed, it was similar. So there started my resistance to the new system. And I also realized there was no separate projects on structuring the speech, body language, voice modulation, such essentials for becoming a speaker. Thanks to all our grumblings and complaints, it has now been integrated into the basic level. what another thing I've learned here is just accept change, adapt. Otherwise, change will derail you, right? Level 1 done, comes my next level, level 2. There I was glad my awareness of communication and leadership styles did grow. But when it came to taking my experiences and matching it to these styles, there I got confused. I said, how do I match it? Some of them are overlapping. So that's again another resistance I had. There's no scope for creativity, neither in choosing your topics. All of us have to do that. But anyway, I went on, but I realized that the awareness that I gained, I could use it for my trainings and coaching to give more depth to the content. So my next learning was newer perspectives lie hidden in what you may think is existing knowledge. Then came level 3. Now I was a little more comfortable. I became confident. And you know when you're confident, what happens? You know how to turn around your partner, isn't it? So I had, at that level, negotiating for the best outcome. So here what I did was, I turned it around and did it self-negotiation, which I found all of us are doing. One day or the other, we are doing it. And my electives, inspiring an audience, storytelling, these were something I had gone through, I was more familiar. I was very happy now. I started liking my partner. And then, level 4, that's when the, paradigm shift happened, not just in my perspectives, but I discovered my passion. Toastmasters, despite its new avatar of pathways, and despite of me having to navigate through the internet, I started liking him. And I started enjoying the path, right? So for level 4, I was very, I also realized at that time that pathways is also helping you go beyond Toastmasters, is helping you in your personal life, right? So that is when it was a time the internet had started and we were becoming less mobile. I just went for a casual health checkup. And that's when the doctor revealed my BP had shot up. I was shocked out of my slumber regarding health. And I just couldn't accept it. So what I did is, okay, let me browse through my manuals. Imagine my delight when it was manage change. And as I browsed through this manual, it gave me my action plan to deal with my current problem. And I went ahead with it. And then I started looking at the electives. My delight leapfrog, because it was those web-based tools, podcasts, blogs, online meeting, just the things that I needed at that time to enhance my digital presence. I also felt thrilled. My partner was preparing me for the technology tsunami that all of us were experiencing, because training and coaching was going digital in a big way. I had got just the right partner, I thought. And then I realized the time was, the term was coming to an end. So I thought, okay, let me, complete a path. And that was a breeze again. Because one was I had to give a leadership experience. I had my performance leadership experience. And then it was also about professional speaking. And since I had done so many of these speeches, I was very happy. I finished it. And here I am, reflecting on my path. And I must mention something. When I reached level 3, I realized I had to quicken my momentum. And for that, I reached out to Mr. Robinson. You know how he can urge you and motivate you. and pick up speed. So I thank Mr. Robinson, and I'm sure many of his mentees will vouch for that because you helped me gain momentum on this path. So my fifth one is that I gained momentum. To gain momentum, shed your inhibitions, shed your mindset. And now, as I look back, let us all recap my learning. I built it around the word change and separating the change into 6 letters. C is clarify your have clarity for your purpose and goal. That's a must to get success with any change. H is have no inhibitions. To clarify your doubts, reach out to someone more savvy to check it out. A is accept and adapt to change before change derails you. N is newer perspectives may lie hidden in what you feel is existing knowledge in the change. And lastly, E is the involvement that happens as you embrace change, grab the new opportunities, and keep an open mind to all your learnings. So fellow Toastmasters, those who are really fumbling through pathways, grab it. It is your surfboard to ride the high tides of change that is happening around all of us. Back to you, Toastmasters.
With pathways. Now you would be getting a voting link on your phone, and the passcode to vote for the best speaker is July, J-U-L-Y. And we will take a short break of 10 minutes. And for all the guests, it is your time to break the ice with the members. And if you want to know more about Toastmasters movement, or if you want to be a member of this club, wait till the end of the meeting. You will get to meet Toastmasters Breaker who is going to help you out at the end of the meeting. For now, it is your time to break the ice and talk to Toastmasters. We break for 8 minutes. Okay, welcome back everyone. The voting link for the best speaker did not work pretty well for all of the users, so please vote again. The link has been shared in the group.
Okay. 1 minute,
Even the people who have voted before, make sure you vote it again, and only one of your vote will be counted. So the reason why. Yeah. The passcode is July. Okay. Now we have the all exciting table topic, and as the table topic speaker today, we have someone who is a chartered accountant by profession. He works as a VP finance with a tech startup. So if you want to join an organization which is going to be cash positive very quick and which gets you great amount of ESOPs with a shorter vesting period, join his organization. Put your hands up for Toastmaster Nagesh.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and friends.
Good evening.
For me, table topics is life in a miniature. Why am I saying that? Think about it. If your boss calls you out of the way and asks you for an opinion on an important matter, what would you do? In a customer meeting, suddenly spotlight is on you and you have to give your opinion. That too on an off topic. What would you do? You had promised your spouse that you would take her for dinner and you reached home at 11 o'clock. What would you do? You will remain silent. But in every other situation, you have to speak impromptu. And that's what we'll practice today. So today's table topic session for us would be a road test to ace a Formula 1 called life. So what we are going to do? So we'll use it to level up ourselves. So for all of those who think you have fairly mastered impromptu speaking, think of topic today as your moment of glory. You are participating in international speech contest and you are a speech away from greatness. So that's how we will be attempting. And for some of us who are intermediate, we have learned the art to let the butterfly fly formation. Just try to pack in opening, body and conclusion into your impromptu speaking and try to present it as a prepared speech. And for rest of us who are just beginning, no problem. Just attempt it, whatever you think which comes in your mind, just speak it out. And make a statement to yourself that you are much larger than any tabletop. Okay? So that said, we'll dive deep into the deep end of the pool called table topic. And can we have a round of applause? Timer, please note 1.5 minutes. The first topic is, if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit. If you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with bullshit. And the topic goes to Toastmaster Vaidyanathan.
This is what I do whenever I appear on stage. Yeah, absolutely fine topic for me, because for you to speak brilliance, then you should be a avid reader, you should be a voracious reader, which I'm not. The one and only option that I do have is to speak bullshit. Okay, which I've done many a times in the recent past, or not in the recent past, in the past 8 years of my experience in Toastmaster. And that's the same thing that I'm going to do today as well. Yeah? So what is the bullshit that I can speak? So the first thing that comes to my mind based on what I have seen today is the presentation that our own friend WD-40 gave today. WD-40. So WD-40 is a wonderful tool which has got many uses and which has been very nicely described by Abhay and which has evoked a lot of laughter amongst us. And this is one classic example of what you can speak if you don't have any content. Yeah, this is completely unrelated to the topic that's given. So that's why they say, if you can't dazzle with brilliance, then dabble with bullshit. So this is what I do, and this is what I have done today as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Toastmaster Vaidyanathan, for a change you baffled with brilliance. Okay, so next topic is, even a correct decision is wrong when it was taken too late. Even a correct decision is wrong when it was too late. This is a quote from Lee Iacocca, and the topic goes to Toastmaster DSouza.
Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. It is always important to take a decision. Not taking a decision, that itself is a risk, and there is no chance that we will move forward. And today, right here, one speaker told, everything connects everything else. You have to put your best foot forward, move ahead. You will get the support. The famous book, Beginner's Luck, which says the world conspires against you to make you a winner. And this has been my experience because I was a branch manager. I had to face not only the customers, but also the loan seekers. And that was the time, it was in 1984, I was freshly married person at the time, and loan mayors, they were coming. And first of all, as told by earlier speaker, I used to take the report from the prospective loanees, and I used to take their own help to come out of the situation. But decision I used to take whether to give or not, but that was within my mind. I used to tell them later, but I used to convey to them that they are known as sanctioned. This person, so many other conditions. Over to the
Thank you, sir. I think your career, you possibly would have retired by the time Vijay Malla was dead. So, thank you, your stars. So, next topic is entrepreneurship is neither a science nor an art. It is a practice. Entrepreneurship is neither a science nor an art. It is a practice. And the topic goes to Toastmaster Kaushal.
Entrepreneurship is neither science, it's practice. Throughout the day, whatever I do, multiple aspects or multiple things encapsulates into different departments. Wherein I start my day, I have to see if all my employees are on time. I just check the time, the attendance software, and then again I have to check the accounts. I have to check multiple aspects, as in if there are people missing out on something else, or I have people who have joined work. Like I mean to say, because I am in the food and beverage industry, I also need to keep a check on if the people are really back in work. Like I don't really know if they are doing their job or not really doing their job. And that's it. Over to you.
Those are the words from entrepreneur himself. So the next topic is my all-time favorite book. My all-time favorite book. The topic goes to Toastmaster Shelma.
Good evening, my fellow Toastmaster guests and everyone who have gathered here. So the topic given to me is about my favorite book. How can I forget my favorite book? The all-time favorite book of mine is Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. So it is one of the greatest books which I have ever read. So it tells about a boy who dreams. He's a shepherd boy who lives in a village. And he has a dream always, he needs to achieve something in his life. So I'm just going to tell you just about it. So if you want to read, please go read this book because it's my favorite one and all of you all might love this book. So what he does is he's a shepherd boy living in a village, very much to himself because he is with sheep all the time. So he has a dream of achieving something very big in his life. So always he dreams, but he can't leave his sheep because he is too much attached to his sheep. So what he does is, he will have to, because when you have something in your mind to achieve, you have to just leave your attachment and go for a bigger thing. With great difficulty, he will leave these sheep and then he will start his journey. I think I can only tell you so much. Remaining thing you can read by yourself. Thank you.
Nice teaser on Alchemist. Next topic is marriage is a workshop. Husband works, wife shops. Marriage is a workshop. Husband works and wife shops. The topic goes to Toastmaster Harish.
Okay. It's an interesting topic. So I've been through many workshops, right? Obviously at work, and I've been through many workshops at home as well. So sometimes what you do is, somebody was talking about, office and related to academic, right? But in my mind, I think it works both ways. Sometimes, okay, I'm totally. I think she won't go home, she might go to shop. I think workshop, I feel it's important for the couple to kind of. I think I'm going to.
I can't imagine how unnerving it would be, but you are brave heart. Okay, next topic is a good wife always forgives her husband when she's wrong. A good wife always forgives her husband when she is wrong, and topic rightly has to go to Swedish.
Good wife.
Always forgives her husband when she's wrong.
Thank you, topic master. Well, he feels it's an ideal topic, but whether you're wrong or right, many of the wives do agree that it's always the battle won by them, and I know it's too hard for me to talk today. But I think a smooth functioning of the house is when the lady's in charge. I know it's a very hard topic, and it's very gender biased, but I'll tell you one thing which comes to my mind is when I listen to one of these TED Talks, right, they speak about how men are wired and how women are wired. Believe me, this is a fact, okay? So it's not me quoting, I'm quoting the fact. So you ask a man, how was your office? I mean, how did your day go at the office? So he has these boxes: office, family, friends. So he would just go to the office box, and then he would come back and he would just speak about, yes, office was good. This is what happened. But then the same thing when the husband asks the wife, right? How was your day at office? Yes, she has these boxes, but the way it's wired is, it's like office, and suddenly she thinks of her in-laws, and then her friends. It's all wired up, right? So what I'm trying to say is, husband and wife, the way they are wired is different. So even the study shows, believe me, that you listen to the wife, there is a lot of peace at home.
Okay, this topic is possibly I think not possible, this is the shortest topic in the history of BTMC. Whether this will be the most controversial will depend on the speaker and the topic is WTF. WTF, and the topic goes to Toastmaster Vijay.
Mr. Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, and my name is Lexi. I read about this topic on Facebook. So once it happened that one, like father and son, like they were sitting next to each other, and it so happened that during the lockdown, since all were in the same room, like, and they're all hooked up to their internet, so father decided to create an account on Facebook. The first thing he does is he adds his son as a friend. And then he goes through his timeline and then he's surprised, okay. Then he tells WTF. Father does not know what is WTF. That's when sons, like this, the siblings turn around and see what have you told to father when he has just come on Facebook. Son actually meant welcome to Facebook. And it's not the WTF what others have mean. So these acronyms can have so many different meanings. So it said that a language is beautiful when we come out of these acronyms and actually use it. Those LOLs, GMs, OMGs. They are good and can be interpreted in different ways. So it is always good to use the full word as a meaning rather than WTF, which can be controversial. That will be
turn the topic on its head. Okay, next topic is nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect, I am nobody. Topic goes to Toastmaster Chiran.
Good evening, Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Topic is nobody is perfect. I am nobody. That means to say that I am imperfect, right? So that's why I joined Toastmasters. So I am not a perfectionist when it comes to speaking and all those things. So I want to improve. That's why I'm here. I'm on the stage, and I've asked Ganesh Pai to consider me for any one of the table topic session. So nobody is perfect. That's true, and it also belongs to each and everyone who is present here. It's not only me that gets the synonym of this. So it's everyone, whoever is present here. So we have something, that void that is left in our heart. So we want to improve, or anything. So we want to taste something or anything. So it comes. There is a void, there is a life. So that void, we try to fill it, but it will always be there. That shows us we are always imperfect, but we move towards something for finding the perfection. Over to you.
Next topic is I am in shape, round is a shape. I am in shape, round is a shape, and topic goes to Toastmaster Sumitra.
Thank you, Table Topic Master, for Toastmasters and guests. Indeed, round is a pretty good shape, which I was a living example a few years back when I had a really good bloated tummy, right? And whatever I did, no push-ups, no sit-ups and all that, nothing really helps. Believe me, it just makes the muscles more stronger. That's about it, right? And so what did I do? I pretty much gave up on that. Just a couple of years back, we started this something called, actually it was triggered by one of the speeches made by Deepika here about intermittent fasting. And we just took it up for fun. Actually, it was initiated by my wife. 1 year later, even my daughter also joined in. But to cut a long story short, neither of them lost too much in the journey. But surprisingly, I lost from the exact places I needed to lose. Right? To an extent that now, few months back, she said, okay, you are not doing it. We are not doing it. You have to keep away from that. So yeah, round is the shape, but it can be counted.
With that, we come to the end of table topics with that well-rounded and we want to hand over the stage back to Toastmaster Karunakar. And if I try to put any of you in spot, that was intentional, so please don't follow me. Okay, with that, I'll hand it over. Nice topics. WTF. Ganesh? Okay. So the voting link for the best table topic speaker will be shared in a while. Please vote. The password remains same, that is July. Okay, now it is time for review. Review where no role taker would be spared. The last time when I got my review by Radeep sir, it reminded me of season 3 of Rokan TV Roadies. Put your hands up for the generally evaluated Toastmaster Radeep Manwani.
what is evaluation? There was a girl who had, a man who had gone to his friend's house, and this man had a beautiful daughter. And when the man went inside, that girl told that friend who had come over to his house that, "Uncle, I heard you're a psychotherapist." He said, "Yes." She said, "I have a problem. The problem is that whenever I look at the mirror, I feel I'm so beautiful, I'm so wonderful. What do I do about my pride and vanity?" So the man, psychotherapist, looked at her from top and to down, and he said, "The only thing which you can do is change your mirror." Now, the same thing happens with evaluation. We just hold a mirror to what you think you are and what you can become. And today we had a wonderful topic to start off the meeting. Well begun is half done. I'm reminded of this because every first I get messages from my bank, "Your balance is running low, your balance is running low." And the very next minute I get, "Please invest in mutual funds, please invest in mutual funds." So it's always well begun is half done. And we had the wonderful Sargent-ar-arms Sai Deepak who started off the meeting. Ably assisted. I was here by around 6 o'clock, and by 6:05 everything was getting on, the entire room was bustling, and Chaitra was helping Sai Deepak, and Sai Deepak started off the meeting. Sai Deepak, first time on stage as the Sargent-ar-arms, you did a decent job, you went on stage, you went and introduced the president, you spoke a little bit about the topic. A great job for the first time, so please give him a big round of applause. What I suggest to you, Sai Deepak, is since you're the Sargent-ar-arms, you started speaking even though people were speaking on the board. So put the meeting in order. Tell them, even I know you don't have to change your voice and scream or shout and all that. Just do this and say, "Please, let's start the meeting." But do some action, because after you started speaking, what happened is people started keeping quiet. So we missed your first 2 lines. So just take charge, because as the Sargent-ar-arms, you have to take charge of the meeting and set the meeting in order. So take charge first and then start off. You don't have to become unnatural by screaming or shouting and acting, "Oh, welcome everybody," because that might be unnatural and you're a soft guy. But at least take charge of the meeting and start the meeting in time and do it in a proper way the next time, so that you can go ahead and make the entire meeting go smoothly. So thank you, Sai Deepak. After the Sargent-ar-arms, we had our wonderful president, Hannah, who's taking over for the second time. And for the first time, we saw Hannah's brilliant sense of humor. Right from the first time to the last time, from Taj, how she's had a cup of coffee. I don't mind calling you out, Hannah, for a cup of coffee now. But thank you so much for actually setting the meeting in order. Usually, Hannah gives a very long presidential address for around 3 or 4 minutes. How many minutes did she speak today, Jayashree? 2 minutes only. Okay. So she spoke a little soft, I think so. She spoke a little shorter and she made it crisp, and she started off the meeting wonderfully well. Just one small suggestion, Hannah, since this is your second term, and from the last 26 meetings, we've been hearing the introduction of Bangalore Toastmasters. It's the oldest club. It has people from teenage. So might be next time just mix it up a little bit. Might be start off with a story and then talk about Bangalore Toastmasters, a little other thing about Toastmaster, a little history. I know all the guests are new, but put it in a different manner so that there is a little variety in what you're speaking. But otherwise, for doing a wonderful job, please give Hannah a big round of applause. After that, we had our wonderful Bruno, who was the secretary, who came on stage and he asked everybody, "Did you read the meetings?" Nobody can really read the minutes. Correct? So you did a good thing, Bruno. You spoke a little bit about it. Might be you'll have to be a little careful, because this time Hannah took a little less time, but next time if she takes a longer time, you'll have to cut it a little short and make it crisp within 1 minute or 2 minutes and give the entire gist of the minutes of the meeting. So a good job done, Bruno, for the first meeting. So please give him a big round of applause. Your challenge is to live up to the expectations of Bangalore Toastmasters and post the minutes every Sunday, like Keetana did it week after week. So the tech savviness of yours will be tested in the future meetings, but well begun is half done, so keep it up. So for that, a good round of applause to Bruno once again. Toastmaster of the day, Karunakar Dev. So Karunakar Dev, whenever he comes on stage, he commands an aura around him. The way he speaks, his loud voice, his booming presence, he tries to add a little humor here, a little humor there. So he carries the meeting with a lot of aplomb. So with that in mind, I think so Karunakar, you did a wonderful job. You carried the meeting along thoroughly. You were very, very professional in whichever aspects you did. Your introductions of the speakers and the evaluators were to some extent good. But to some extent, for some of, I think so from those whom you asked about what they wanted to be introduced, I think so you did a good job. But those whom you think you knew about, there you messed up. You thought you knew about me. So you said I am a coordinator of one university, which I have left the job 6 months back. Correct? You told that Abhay Kotari is which engineer?
Mechanical.
WD-40 engineer. What is he? Some engineer. He was some. You said that I like eating food other than onion and garlic. I like food only made by Sureka ma'am. But you missed out that. Correct? So I think so. Just to be a little more, I wouldn't say anything more, but just a little more precise. Just find out from everybody, not from only a few people, but other than that, I think so you did a wonderful job. You introduced each person well, you carried the meeting, you connected the meeting. You also had the break which you tried to coordinate and bring them on stage. So for a good job done, please give Karunakar a big round of applause. After that, we had the first speaker of the day, Yash, and to evaluate Yash, I would like to call his evaluator on stage, please.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and our speaker, Yash, in particular. Today, the purpose of Yash's project was to have a speech with a well-defined purpose, and it had to be well organized. Yash, I thought your speech was well written, clearly focused, and for the large part, an extremely well executed speech. It also helped that you were well dressed, you had a great presence on stage, and you made great usage of the stage. You had measured body language, and the beauty after your introduction is in your body, you substantiated it with a 3-pointer system. You kept using point number 1, point number 2, point number 3. Very evolved for someone who's giving their icebreaker speech. Now, these are all amazing, amazing traits. You had vocal variety, eye contact, which is not part of an expectation, but you still did it. And for that, you're not just well begun, you're almost there to the finish line, right? Now, when you have all these things going for you, what is it that I can add that could have taken your speech to make it even better? One of the things being a part of an icebreaker is that you spoke about yourself, which is very good. But I wish you had spoken a little bit about your family. There was a touch about your mother, but your father, your mother, siblings, how you grew up. It would have helped us understand a lot more about you, and you can only do that in an icebreaker. Though I loved your introduction, your body, as you reached your conclusion, you used the 3-pointer system again, which aided recall. But I just felt that your conclusion was a little rushed. So what do I mean? Your title, everything connects to everything else, right? It was your title, you had to end with it. You just ended it with that statement. So sample this. If I were you, I would do this. Ladies and gentlemen, why did I tell you all this? At the start, I spoke to you about what led me to join Toastmasters. Standing here today shows you how everything connects to everything else. Back to the Toastmasters. So, with that, Yash, with your smashing icebreaker and your conspicuous confidence, you're well on your way to a promising Toastmaster journey. Best wishes for your future speeches. Back to the
How many minutes did Alan take yesterday? Just 2 minutes?
3 minutes, 4 seconds.
No wonder he said 5 to 7 minutes. I think so he included his evaluation. He's taken more time than the speaker. In the beginning he spoke for 2 minutes about what is to be done and encouraged. So I think so. Those people who framed the guidelines knew that Alan is evaluating and they increased the speaking time by 2 minutes. Whenever Alan speaks, I think I'm listening to an army commander. Yes, I came to know that you're getting evaluated and it's amazing. Wow, Alan, did you ever contemplate joining the army? But anyway, great job done, Alan. First for the 5 minutes which you have taken, 2 minutes in the beginning, and 3 minutes at the end, and you have given everything. If I speak longer, it will come. But Yash, great job. I think so. It was your icebreaker. Very nice way of starting with the question, but you need confidence to do that. I was a little shocked. That's why I asked you the question back. How are you feeling? Are you feeling comfortable? Very good. Once when I had done that, I asked her, I'm going to tell you a joke. Somebody should have told you decide, we will decide whether it's a joke. You talk whatever you want. Don't start with questions. It becomes a little unnerving, but a great job done. And I could actually empathize with you regarding the bullying. Because I remember when I joined college, there were these 2-3 guys used to bully me. Every time I used to go to college, they used to kick me on my back. They used to hold my hand and press it. And I kept telling them, no, don't do it. But then I got a technique. Next time they hit me or they caught me, I said, I feel something in my heart when you do that. They stopped coming me on the arm. You have to think differently, okay? That's next time. Don't think of stabbing them or all. Okay. But anyway, a good icebreaker and wonderfully done. From the person who was bullied to a person who had a smile on his face when he sleeps, I don't know thinking of what. We had Nagesh who's evaluated by Umakan. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, Mr. Nagesh in particular. And this is one of the better speeches that I've heard from you. Okay, it brings back memories that what we have missed in our life. Isn't it so? Yes. We missed a lot of things. It brings that memory. That's brilliant. Thanks for bringing us those memories. You clearly spoke of the instance, the journey of your life, right from Lucknow to Bangalore, right from an engineer to a project manager to training students in colleges and motivating them. It's a great journey of your life. One thing what I would like to say is that you implemented very well was about the pauses. I'm sure there's an impact of the educational session that we had last week. And you really incorporated very, very well. That had real impact on the speech. You are very comfortable on the stage. You're looking around each and every person on the other side. There was humor peppered into your speech. Right from dosas to round chapatis, the crispy dosas to the round chapatis. I'm sure we all have a challenge making a round chapati. There's one thing which I would like to point out. Whenever we are on the stage, we might be nervous. Yes, we are nervous coming to the stage to speak on something. But let's not mention it that we are nervous about it. I think you also took a deep breath, I think, to control that. But anyway, that's a part of our speech, when somebody gives a talk. Even I am nervous when I come to the stage, but we all go through it. But the best part of this thing was, the butterflies that he had were later flying in the right formation. That gave a great impact on the speech. Well begun is half done. Go to the general evaluator.
Thank you, Maka. I couldn't make out Nagesh was nervous. Anybody made up nervous, Nagesh?
Yes, he mentioned it.
He mentioned he was, but he wasn't. But Maka was definitely nervous. It's such a long pause. I thought he took Kotari's thing to art. A long pause. And then I didn't know what happened after that. And then he gave some formation to Nagesh's butterflies. Correct? So, Nagesh, a good job done. I know it's fashionable to say you're nervous on stage and all, even if you're not. You have done 3. How many pathways? 4th or 3rd? Fourth path. Now you can imagine who's nervous evaluating. Correct? So for his 4th pathway, and brilliant, because from the time he started, every time the icebreaker was very, very warm. It had some impersonal stories. I think so. It was very, very well directed, and it covered different aspects of it. Might be a little bit of the smile on the face and all that. It looked a little fabricated, but it's okay. Correct? We need all that, right? To fabricate a little bit here. Yes. So, correct? Because whenever my wife sees me on stage, she sees me sleeping, smiling, she's thinking, oh, you're thinking of somebody else. You don't have a suspicious wife. Okay. Thanks for that wonderful introduction, and good job, Umakant. You'll only improve. Okay, so let's go to the 3rd speaker of the day, and we had our WD-40 man, Abhay Kotari, who's going to be evaluated by the most amazing Teresa. So Teresa, please.
Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters and Toastmaster Abhay Kotari in particular. Thank you, Abhay, for your technical presentation on WD-40, and your taught us or you told us how it protects metal from rust, corrosion, lubricating almost everything you said, including smooth flow of zipper, and also you mentioned not to use on human beings, just men, please. Thank you, Abhay. I always love to see you when you come here well dressed. Whatever role you take, your presentation is very good. And today's speech also you prepared very well. Smooth flow of slides. I love the way you stood at the side and where we could see all the slides very clearly. So all in all, I can say your presentation was conspicuous. Conspicuous.
Priyanka.
That's what she asked. She uttered it. Toastmaster Abhay, though your speech was based on technical aspect today, you peppered humor here and there, and it reminded me your part is engaging humor. Kudos to you. And mainly your objective was on today's speech was to work on the feedback what you received on your previous speech. That was to work on body language, voice modulation, and to end the speech with a bang. Abhay, you have done all the 3 100 upon 100. Because when you said your body language, when I say your body language, your gestures were apt. You slowed and raised your voice and also ended with the technical presentation in a well-mannered way. So in conclusion, Abhay, thank you for this WD-40 and educated us, followed all the feedback, which was the main objectives of today's project. Good luck for your next project. Over to you.
Abhay, I think so you were attempting engaging humor and you did a good. It's difficult to get a technical aspect to make things funny, But it's even more difficult to get laughs out when you're actually speaking on something like a double-edged humor, you know, when Karunakar was asked to read that advertisement. Now the problem is that everybody wants to laugh but they can't laugh because otherwise they'll become indecent. Now see, Alan, he's controlling his laughter in front of me. If that girl sees me, she thinks I'm a loser. Now that is, everybody wants to look decent and you put this. And what you could have done is ask Karunakar to read one line, ask somebody else to read one line, then it would have been more funnier because everybody might be asked Ganesh to read about that lubrication of something else, somebody knifing, somebody other things, then it becomes even more funny. But otherwise, I think so a good job and everybody wants to look decent. So please don't try that out next time. Means you can try it out in a whatever stand-up humor club or something. But otherwise, I think so you made a decent attempt. For that and for the decent evaluation of Teresa, please give her a big round of applause. Last but not the least, we had the 20-year-old Toastmaster from 20 years, evaluated by the 10 plus 20-year-old aged Alok. So, Alok, you can please.
Good evening, everyone. In particular, the speech was titled "A Thrilling Adventure," and the thrill was evident from the word go. The energy, the euphoria, the conviction was impactful right from the beginning, and that can only come from the satisfaction of completing a ride and enjoying the experience. Now, for any budding Toastmaster here, or even a few of us experienced Toastmasters and the guests in particular, let me tell you how this was a model speech in terms of all the basics of public speaking. Right from the eye contact, the gestures, the voice modulation, the humor, the very personal connect that the speaker brought out, all this was very well done. And for anyone who's looking to start off their journey or in the beginning of the journey in public speaking, this is what you need to do consistently to become a great speaker. Coming to the content itself, like I mentioned earlier, the speech was laced with humor, the tone was conversational and personal, and there was this running metaphor throughout the speech of the speaker being a damsel married to a corporate. So that was the running metaphor throughout the speech, and it was well connected to every milestone during the journey. Now, what I liked about the speech was that this was not a glory speech. This was not a speaker who was racing through her path and completing the path in flying colors. This was about how the speaker navigated through the challenges, made peace with the obstacles, reached out for help, and eventually became a winner. Now there was a sense of vulnerability in this speech, and I liked that the most, given that this was coming from a DDM. The speech was again structured in terms of a journey, and there were multiple milestones. Each level was a milestone, and in each of these milestones there was a lesson for all of us. So we could connect each milestone with a lesson for all of us. And eventually, like again, the model Toastmaster that she summed the entire speech up with an acronym, helping us recap what were those lessons. And most importantly, there was a call out for all of us, asking us to embrace pathways and take the challenge head on. So when she concluded, there was a recap, there was an acronym helping us remember it better, and a call to action, which is again very important in any speech. Now ma'am, if there was a small suggestion that I want to give you, during the speech, it is more about how we segmented the entire speech. Levels 1, 2 and 3, there was a lot of input for us about the challenges that you faced and how you navigated them. I felt levels 4 and 5, when you described it, they were a little rushed. And I felt you could have given them a little more importance, considering the fact you mentioned that level 4 was a paradigm shift, and level 5 brought out leadership principles or the leadership lessons that you learned. So if you had focused a little more on levels 4 and 5, I would have had a lot more to take away. That being said, like I mentioned throughout this evaluation, you are a testimony and a role model for all of us. And to start pursuing a new path after achieving the pinnacles of achievement that you've already done, it shows that we have a lot to learn from you. Thanks a lot for being here with us, and thanks a lot for completing the path and continuing.
has evaluated Sumitra twice. Are you asking for it, Alok, or is it just coming to you? You evaluated her on that web tray and you praised her so much and this. Sumitra, you have any daughter? Okay, Alok, no chance. Okay. But otherwise, I think so. Very good evaluation, very well done, and Sumitra, wonderful speech. I think so. You summed it up brilliantly. Might be I thought that acronym was a little pushed at the end. You could have just simply said it. You wanted to incorporate the word change, so you put it in, and some words where I don't even remember. H started with, what was H, Sumitra? Have. Where the have? Might be humor or something like that. So, like that, I just found it a little, but otherwise I think so. Good job, a good evaluation, Alok. Okay, so those were the prepared speeches. After that, we had those wonderful snacks which have been prepared by Surekha, and Guru was serving it. So please give them both a big round of applause. Let me tell you this very frankly. See, the person sitting next to me, Saurabh, he doesn't give speeches, but he only comes for your snacks. Saurabh, you better buck up now, correct? Enough of eating 4 khandvis and all that, correct? Okay, but otherwise, I think so, very nicely done, and the selflessness of Surekha is just amazing. Okay, after that we had the table topic session conducted by Ganesh Bhai. Ganesh, what do I say? You dazzled us by your brilliance and you baffled us with your bullshit, correct? You did both brilliantly. You were very, very good. You had the topics well arranged. You called out people thinking. So it was a very well thought out table topic. I thought it was excellently thought out. You caught the right person, and I just can't forget the way in which Vaidyanathan was made to speak on a topic, and he connected it to Abhay. So both of them were connected in some way by the bullshit, correct? Everything is connected with everything else, yes, correct? Then you had both the husband and wife, and how Harish couldn't stop laughing. My God, workshop. What were you thinking, Harish? Work or shop when you were actually giving that thing? He didn't know what to tell. He was so stunned. And then Sri Lakshmi came and she said, both women and men are wired. I think so. Women are wired, men are fired. Correct? The way it looked, right? It was unbelievable. And the poor Chirant felt that he's imperfect. I don't know what he made of him. Chirant, you're absolutely perfect. This Ganesh only is troubling you. Catch him a little later. So, all the topics were connected in some way or the other, and Shelma told us about what that. You should change your name to Sheepma, I think. How the sheep came and what all happened, right? But anyway, it was brilliantly done, Ganesh. And what I thought was, for some people you were connecting the talk to what they gave to the next topic, but for some lecturers you didn't connect. So make that standard throughout, Ganesh. Connect every end of your speech with something picked up from them to others. So I thought for out of the 7 or 8, there were 3 or 4 connections, there were 3 or 4 no. So that should have been connected throughout. But otherwise, with the choice of topics and the thinking which you went through for the table topics, please give him a big round of applause. Now I have my taggy team, and for the timers report, I would like Yash to speak, please.
Good evening once again. So all the speakers and the role takers were well within time today. Thank you.
Even Alan Aran. Okay. We have our counter, and we will ask Vishwanathan to just read out the report.
Good evening. So, from the R counter, I would say that the whole meeting went in a well-defined manner. Considering the R counter, I see that especially the crutch word specific to R was repeated actually, especially by Yash, and then I even encountered at Karunakar and also from Kaushal. Other than that, the clauses again, especially on few places by specific Toastmasters. That's
Thank you, Vishwanathan. Then we had our grammarian Priyanka, conspicuous. That's pronounced correct?
Yes.
A very good evening, one and all, once again. There's a saying that English is a very tricky language. When you think you know the best, you go with that, and that's what I did during the initial of the meeting. Conspicuous was the word of the day, and from my knowledge, none used the word.
Please. Robinsons are given chocolates later on.
Let me list out, since we had amazing and eloquent speakers who came up on stage, I have around 2 pages of good usage of words. I'll only mention a few. Strike to me, hailing from, unwrap the bundle, resistance to the new system, paradigm shift, and many more. It is noted, and if anyone wants to refer, can refer here. There were hardly any not so good usage of words. Few of them were, he got scared, he was scared. It's the cheating. It should have been, it is cheating. Listen or not should have been, listen or not. I will tell you an incident should have been, I will share an incident. Opportunities to grow myself should have been opportunities to grow. Waiting for BTS bus, that's what I heard it as, should have been waiting for BMTC bus.
Waiting for the. That doesn't matter. The time is up now. You stop waiting. Thank you, Kendra. Thank you so much. Now we are waiting for the founder, not for the bus. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Rajdi. Now helping you to recollect what somebody said. How many years back Hannah had her first and last cup of tea?
19 years.
Who said first? Yeah. 19 years. Yeah. 19 correct. 19 correct.
If many people say it goes with family value.
One person said, everything connects to everything else. Yes. Mr. Karunakar Dev introduced Sumitra using 3 words. Those, all the 3 words ended with ing. Grumpy. Again, you get it. So please repeat those words.
Fumbling, grumbling, and tumbling.
Madam Sumitra said, accept change, otherwise change will remain. Thank you. While going my country. According to the president, how many clubs are there in India?
800.
You get it. 800, not 80. You are still thinking of someone's age. Yes, said there are 3 phases in Toastmasters.
Fight of life, stability phase, growth phase.
Yeah, first one is right. Second?
Rising phase.
Growth. Yeah, you are right. You are getting it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So every role Robinsons takes, he takes up with so much of enthusiasm, and no wonder he was the best role taker in the prize distribution ceremony last Sunday. So please give him a big round of applause. You all can vote for the best evaluator and the best role taker, right? Chesler, you had asked me to tell them, right? I think they sent the link. Okay, role taker, they posted now for the best evaluator. You all please vote, and the password is July, right? Yeah. So with that, there is a similarity between sitting on the dining table in the morning, waiting in a queue. If you see outside some schools, you'll see some parents waiting in a queue in the month of March and April. And when 2 batsmen come out to play for a T20 match, what's the thing which is common? All these 3 speak about well begun is half done. Because when you sit in the morning, this is actual research which says that people who have a good breakfast, it takes care of your nutrients for the rest of the day and they are less prone to get tired. If you get a good education and a good childhood, your psychological and emotional makeup actually reflects for the rest of your life. That's why you see parents queuing up to get into good schools so that their children get the best of education right at the foundation level. And if you hear this, 80% of the time a country wins a T20 or a one-day international, it's because the opening pair has scored a century stand or more. So with all that well begun is half done, I think so we scored a century today in our Toastmasters meeting with a wonderful meeting. So please give all the role takers a big With that, I hand it back to the Toastmaster of the day, Karunakar Dev.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Razi. Please put your hands up for the GE and all the evaluators here. Okay, it brings us to the end of the meeting, and now I'm going to call upon somebody who has always been victorious, Toastmaster Hannah Victoria, to give away the awards for the meeting. Put your hands up for her, everybody.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Karunakar, for that lovely flow-through of the meeting. Thank you. I'd also like to welcome, there are two Toastmasters from the Mumbai Toastmasters Club. Yes, and we are so glad to have you amongst us. If you could please mention your names and how you found the meeting.
Yeah, so hi, I am Manamohan. I am from Mumbai Toastmasters and I have recently moved to Bangalore. I really love the meeting here, especially the energy, the people, and how the speeches were. The evaluations were top notch. I really enjoyed all the evaluations and especially the entire session from sir.
Hi, I'm Sargent. I am part of Mumbai Toastmasters Club as of now. Recently moved, both of us are married. So we're looking for a club in Bangalore and we really enjoyed. I loved it the most because I was welcomed with vada pav from Mumbai. That was nice. But love the flow here. Thank you, Hannah, for having us.
And before we move on to the awards, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank the role takers for the installation ceremony. All of them have put in a lot of effort to bring that program installation together. And a small token of appreciation from the committee to them. I'd like to call upon Toastmaster Robertson sir to please give Toastmaster Karunakar. Toastmaster Vijay Kalkundri. Toastmaster Jose Paul. Toastmaster Umakant. And Toastmaster Sudipto. Thank you, Toastmaster. Thank you, Toastmaster Robinson. The best table topic speaker for the evening goes to Toastmaster Vijay Kalkundri. Toastmaster Robinson The best role taker award goes to DTM Dr. Rajdeep Manamohan. The best evaluator award goes to Toastmaster Alok Sinha. And the best speaker award goes to the icebreaker speech, Toastmaster Yash. Thank you so much, all of you, for making the time to come for the meeting. I hope each of you have gone with learning something new and time well spent. Also, the guests, if you all can please stay back, our Vice President membership, Toastmaster Surekha, will brief you on the Toastmasters, and any doubts you may have, you can please request. Maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes max. You can please speak with her. Thank you once again. I now adjourn meeting number 133.